Understanding power dynamics is essential to mastering the art of negotiation, a crucial skill for financial success. Power influences negotiation strategies and outcomes, shaping the approach and confidence of negotiators. Power in negotiation affects behavioral approaches, with powerful negotiators often exhibiting assertive and reward-seeking behaviors. This mindset leads to more confident negotiation tactics, impacting the negotiation process. There are different types of power in negotiations. Role power derives from one's title or position, while psychological power comes from a self-perceived sense of control. Recognizing and utilizing these power types can significantly influence negotiation effectiveness. Power dynamics in negotiations are dynamic and interactive. In essence, navigating power dynamics in negotiation involves understanding the behaviors associated with different power types and adapting to the evolving nature of power relationships. Mastering these dynamics is key to effective negotiation strategies, leading to financial success and goal achievement.
I'm really curious how important assertiveness and confidence comes into play here. Brian, I know that you talk about the sales process. It starts with preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about like this power dynamic and how we can prepare for that?
You know, I call all sales negotiation, by the way. Sales and negotiation are hand in hand. And so if you're in sales, you are also a negotiator. And by the way, negotiation by its very nature means that it's a back and forth. It's not, this is what I'm offering and you're going to take it and that's all there is to it, right? So when we're talking negotiation, we're talking back and forth. And so the very nature of that means that there's going to be a bottom and a top, right? Or what we call a range of where that negotiation is going to start and end. You need to understand as the negotiator that you need to start more or less in the bottom of this range, whatever it is, because whoever's selling is at the top. And if you're at the top, you need to understand that whoever's coming in is coming in at the bottom of that range while you're at the top. And our job is to come together to figure out how to get that deal done through the negotiation process. And a lot of the power dynamics that you were talking about, or that the little video was talking about there, are so critical. And it's my book's called The Psychology of Sales and Negotiation, right? It's the psychology of what they're thinking, how they're reacting, what they're expecting, and then how you're going to deal with that, counter it, and then move through that process to get you where you need to go.
Some people have told me that we're all in sales because
everything.
Not everybody is a trained salesperson in their job, but those who have gone through sales training, their eyes are open and they're like, wait a minute, everything's sales. Talking to my spouse requires sales skills.
If you're married, you sold. If you're like me, you sold way up. Like you're like, oh my God, you're awesome. You can't believe the deal you're getting.
Do you see the world as just constant negotiation also?
If you think about every business in the world sells a product, right? Or they're not in business, which means, I want you to understand what I said, every company in the world sells a product. It doesn't matter how good you are or how good your product is, somebody still has to sell it. And that sale is what drives business and what makes the world go round. Everything is about sales. Whether you're negotiating on a deal, whether you're selling a product, whether you're trying to find a wife, whether you're trying to negotiate your job or your salary, everything is a sale. And I tell people all the time, you need to learn how to negotiate, because if you don't, and you come up against a good negotiator, they're going to eat your lunch.
It's very important because one of the most successful business owners that I knew, I think he's passed away, but the advice that he gave me was that in his experience, it's much better to have the company with the B product with an A sales team versus the reverse, having an A product with the B sales team. And I'm just wondering, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, my insurance company we sold in 2008, we were not selling the cheapest insurance product in the market. In fact, we were probably one of the highest priced products in the market. But we trained our salespeople how to overcome objections and sell that product anyway. And we did, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of sales for that company. So it's not really always about the price. It's really about the process and the salesperson that moves that.
So you were referencing this difference in the the power dynamic and how do you get to the same level. You just also mentioned overcoming objections. How do you, like as a salesperson, prepare for potential objections or to train your salespeople to get good at addressing objections?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Andy, this is the heart and soul of the training process that we go through. And what I tell organizations is that your sales organization, your sales team, your sales members are getting the exact same objections every single time, right? There's probably a set of 5 to 6 to 7 objections that they get every single time with every single product or client. It doesn't matter if you're selling software or insurance product or roofing sales or whatever. The objections are the same. Your job as management, as the sales management, is to figure out what those objections are and then build a process and a scripting around those objections so that we can overcome them before the client has them, right? If I already know what your objection is, my job is to overcome that objection before you tell it to me. Because if I can overcome it before you tell it to me, then you're not going to have it, right? And the first objection we always teach is the objection that you're in sales. That is the first objection in every sales environment. People naturally don't trust salespeople because they don't think that they're looking out for their best interest. If I know that, then my job is to overcome that first objection before they have it so that I can lower those defensive walls so that I can actually get in and sell you something while overcoming the objections to you buying it along the way. I mean, this is a heart and soul of what we do. Overcome objections before they have them by understanding what those objections are and building a process around it.
So with your insurance company, you have to know your product well, you have to know your clients well.
And your competition.
Was it a small list of objections that were most common that you could prepare your sales people?
Almost always. A price is an objection. We call it the why and the when, right? Why are you looking to buy? Who have you shopped with before? What prices have you seen? What prices are you paying now? Why didn't you buy from the competition? And then when are you looking to buy? What's important about that time frame? If I know the why and the when, I can build a fact-finding questionnaire around those answers to get you to actually sell yourself at the end of the day.
I want to welcome in my good friend Everold Reid. Let me give a quick introduction. Since his serendipitous entry into car sales, I think in 1989.
89, yeah.
Everold's innate selling prowess has propelled him to top-ranking positions and garnered numerous awards throughout his 3-decade career. A devoted student of continuous improvement, he's developed a proven blueprint called the Reid method for automotive sales and marketing, sought after by global automotive brands, offering invaluable insights to elevate performance and success in a very competitive industry. Everold, we're talking about the power dynamic when negotiating. And I wanted to ask you, in auto sales, what has been your experience in who has the power, who doesn't have the power, and how do you get to a position where your customer is comfortable and starts opening up with you?
Well, thanks for having me on, and it's a pleasure. And I was listening to some of what Brian was saying, and it's so true. And a lot of the power dynamic, in my opinion, has shifted a bit more from, let's say, especially in the automotive space where we are here in Canada, where a few years ago, a client would come into the showroom and it would automatically be assumed that the power lies with the client. But in recent times, especially with more complex ways of acquiring vehicles, being finance, leasing, we do a lot of leases, and we do a lot of different structures within leases, and the technological advancements in our automobiles. We find that clients, what I teach to my trainees, be it dealerships managers and sales reps, is that the clients actually need you. So if you go into this right off the bat, thinking that you're beholden to the client, you're already starting from behind. So if you want to set yourself up to have a better position to negotiate, you have to go into this with a lot more confidence, where you know from the very get-go the client needs you as much as you need them to purchase a vehicle or a product or a service. So I go in and I teach, okay, they need you just as much. And you'll find, to be honest with you, in the last couple of years, and I've recently done the analysis on this, out of close to a couple hundred vehicles I delivered in 2023, while keeping the business schedule, as you know I do, we rarely negotiated. I could literally tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I did not negotiate more than 10 out of the close to 200 deals, simply because there is already a trust factor. So what I try to do is I establish from the very beginning that I'm here to solve problems, and I'm here to offer you solutions. I'm here to listen to you, and I'm here to guide you alongside with you, as opposed to haggle with you or fight with you. We're on the same mission. If I listen to you and I understand and I establish common ground as to what this relationship is meant to accomplish, there's very little negotiating required. And I find lately that when I look back at last year, I literally had less than 10 actual offers, because most of the clients, once we communicated and I put proposals in front of them, as long as I explained what I was crafting, they did not object. They would ask questions, and I would explain how it benefits them and how it improves their lives, and it makes their circumstances a lot better, and it also sets them up for the next transaction. So clients appreciate that, and I find that takes a lot of the need away to negotiate.
That sounds unheard of to me, that of like such a small percentage actually were negotiating with you. And that seems like because the way you positioned yourself as an advisor serving the customer, you're sitting on the same side of the table as them.
Absolutely. And they actually pick up on that real quick. When they sit in my office and they see, you'll see the clients observing. They're observing me, and they're observing my office. And one or two out of five will look at the awards, and first thing they'll say is, that's a lot of awards, right? So it brings down their guard right away. And then once we start communicating, and they realize we're not communicating about the same things that they heard at another dealership, the same type of car talk or negotiating talk or offer or price or payment talk. We're talking a different language. We're talking about solutions. We're talking about identifying problems. We're talking about improving circumstances. And we're talking about setting them up so that the next 2, 3, 4 years makes it easier for them to transition into another vehicle or another product when the time comes. Because we know that our clients are making buying decisions much sooner. So we're not selling them or leasing them a vehicle for them to keep for 5, 10 years anymore. They're transitioning a lot sooner. So one of my biggest things in my success is that we're negotiating is literally taken out of the equation, is by selling today, I also set up the next potential sale because of how I structured today's sale.
That is great. Our third panelist is in the house. Let's move to the next segment, and then I'll introduce him.